I want y'all to understand how demented and depraved these demonic beings are. It seems like no matter how much I come out here and I tell Black people and I try to get the pathology down of who these things are, Black people ignore it. For some reason, Black people let media propaganda override everything because they refuse to do research. They refuse to deactivate the programming shift that they have in their mindset, and they refuse to stop looking at these people as children of God. This is just a reality. We can sit up here all day, every day. We can deny it. We can say that, these Black people don't like these people. We can say that all day and every day, but the reality of it is Black people do like these people, and that is why they spend most of their time catering to their insecurities, just like I showed you guys in that Sway video where Sway decided to tell Nick Grant that he needs to include every other race or woman in his book, because in his video, because how dare he makes an old two Black women who raised him and gave birth to him and was always there for him. But this is the society we live in, because like I said, many, if not all, of the things that Black men complain about, they also promote. So that is a problem. But again, this video isn't about Black men. So I want to get to this real actual story. It says a woman is serving life in Michigan for boyfriend's death and pleads guilty to her husband murder in Indiana. Now, I want you to understand, they already know that this woman is a convicted murderer. They know at this point she's a demented, depraved, psychopathic killer. But in true white supremacist propaganda arm of white supremacy, they're simply calling her a woman. They're simply calling her a woman, and she looks demonic. You can sit here and look at her eyes on the screen. She looks like a certified demon, and that's because she is. But I want you to see what she did. It says a demonic entity already serving a life sentence for her boyfriend's killing in Michigan pleaded guilty Wednesday to her husband's murder. Kelly Cochran, 35, entered a plea agreement in Lake Superior Court stemming from the death of her husband 2 years ago in Hobart. Prosecutors claim Cochran gave her husband a fatal dose of heroin February 20th, 2016, and put her hands on his neck, nose, and mouth until he died, according to a plea deal. Do you know how psychotic and depraved you have to be to sit up there and not only overdose a person, but put your hands on their neck, nose, and mouth to suffocate, watch them suffocate in your hands, while she's probably looking in his eyes as the life deteriorates from it? Do you know how psychotic and subhuman? You can't even have human. You have to be a demon to do that. But this isn't surprising to me, because this is lightweight in comparison to what her ancestors were doing to your ancestors on that plantation. And they did it for enjoyment. They loved torturing people. They loved murdering. They loved castrating. They loved doing all that stuff. It was entertainment for them on a regular basis. And somehow Black people have convinced themselves that although they believe that the slave syndrome was passed down to them through epigenetics, they don't ever think about what was passed down to these people who are the descendants of those who sat up there for hundreds of years, skinning people alive, tarring, feathering them, raping them, torturing them, and keeping souvenirs, postcards, Dixon jars, hands in windows of stores. Black people have somehow forgot that. And the only way you will be able to forget something that heinous is if you suffer from such a severe form of self-hate that you've completely detached yourself from your ancestors. But even if they didn't, see, they wouldn't have to do this to my ancestors for me to sit here and know that these aren't the people that I want to mate and date. They don't have to do these to my ancestors. They can just do it to anything. The fact that they like to have sex with animals, the fact that they need to go hunting to kill. Why is it that Black people are overlooking all of these obvious signs of psychopathology and demented and depravity on a genetic level? They will overlook this and still advocate for these people and want to date them and want to mate with them, because in their minds, white people are God. And if God is white in their mind, then white people would have to be the children of God, no matter how demented or depraved they are. This is what Black people think. Many of them will deny it, but again, your behavior shows that this is what you really believe. But back to the story. His death was ruled a homicide caused by asphyxia by strangulation, complicated by heroin intoxication, according to attorneys. Jason and Kelly Cochran's parents sat in a courtroom Wednesday morning as Kelly Cochran reviewed and signed her plea agreement with her public defender, Derla Gross. Dressed in a green jail uniform with glasses and her hair down, Cochran teared up as she entered her plea. It's all about manipulation, because the reality of it is she wants leniency. If this was anybody else, they would have been automatically given the death sentence. I plead guilty, Your Honor, she told the judge. The deal recommends that Cochran be sentenced to 65 years in prison to be served consecutively to her Michigan convicted. She is scheduled to be sentenced May 16th. But notice how they gave her a deal despite the fact that this is the second person she murdered intentionally. Cochran was sentenced to life in prison without parole after an Iron County, Michigan jury convicted her in May of the murder of Christopher Reagan, her boyfriend and co-worker, according to court records. This plea agreement comes rather quickly, Judge Salvador Vasquez said Wednesday. Cochran was booked in Lake County Jail in February from the Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Vasquez asked Cochran whether she had enough time to think about her options after being held in jail for only 2 months. Sir, I've had plenty of time, Cochran said. Gross said she had had numerous conversations with her client going over the case. She's extremely bright. She has no trouble understanding these concepts, Gross said. Gross said while there is a massive discovery in Michigan from that murder case, Gross felt it didn't pertain to Cochran's decision in the case. But there is a relationship, Vasquez said. During her trial in Michigan, Cochran testified that she and her husband were soulmates during their honeymoon and finishes each other's sentences. Again, they're not capable of love, so therefore they don't have souls. So how do you have a soulmate when you don't even have a soul? But the relationship delved into verbal abuse and physical threats, she testified, adding that her husband had threatened he'll kill me if I ever wanted a divorce. Understand that her method of killing him does not coincide with her being in domestic violence situations. It doesn't. Because you're not going to poison someone with heroin, which takes a long time, then sit there and smother them in your arms. Most of them don't do that. There is a pathology to that. They'll kill them and they'll find a method that's going to kill them very quickly. Prosecutors alleged Kelly and Jason Cochran had made a pact on their wedding night that if one of them were unfaithful, they'd have to kill their lover. Cochran, however, claimed during the trial in Michigan that there was no definite pact and she didn't take it seriously. I thought it was a joke, she said. Nevertheless, in 2014, Cochran lured Reagan to her home in Michigan with the offer of sex when Jason Cochran interrupted them and shot Reagan, according to the court records. Kelly Cochran said she got the cord for an electric saw so her husband could dismember Reagan's body, put it in garbage bags, and dump it in the woods in northern Michigan, court document states. Jason Cochran died 2 years ago in Hobart, and a recording of 911 call Kelly Cochran made the day of her husband's death, which the Post-Tribune obtained in a response to public record requests, including her pleas for help. And this is a recording, so I'll let you guys listen to this, and then I'm going to wrap up this, and then I'm going to wrap it up.
My husband's, his face is like swell. He's breathing barely. I don't know what's wrong. He's throwing up. He's sweating. I need an ambulance right away.
Okay, are you in a hotel? Is that a hotel?
No, I'm in a home.
Okay. And how old is the person?
37. Just get an ambulance here right now.
Okay, stay on the line with me.
Okay.
You said he's breathing, difficulty breathing?
Barely. Jeez.
Okay, I can't understand what you're saying. Difficulty breathing, sweating?
No, he's still breathing. I'm on the phone with him right now. Yes, ma'am.
What exactly?
Okay, I need an ambulance here right away.
Okay, they've been dispatched.
I gotta tend to him.
They have been dispatched, but I need you to stay on the line.
She was holding
Now, this is the interesting thing, is that if you were just listening to this, you would think that you had a person who was actually distraught and emotional over her husband suddenly dying. But what Black people fail to realize is that a sociopathic person can mimic human emotions. That's why Black people are running around here confused, talking about interracial sex with them is interracial dating with them is about love. And no, it's not. There's a difference between mimicking human emotions and actually having human emotions. These people are not interested in loving Black people. They're interested in exploiting them sexually so they can relish in the fact that they get to perpetuate white supremacy, disenfranchise Black people, and have sex with them. It's nothing new. But there's more to this story about this psychopathic demon, okay? Because this is her. And this is the man that she killed. She said, authorities believe the reason they can't find the remains of one of the victims of an Indiana woman serving time for 2 murders is that she may have served his remains to her neighbors at a neighborhood barbecue. That's why I don't eat chicken nuggets. The menu always says they are made from white meat, but they never say which part. I stick to wings. Wings is white meat too, stupid. I'll be damned if I'm going to go to a white person's cookout and eat some grilled Gregory. I can't stand the people who write these root articles. I really can't. They think they're humorous. They think they're being witty, but they're not. You just come out as an idiot. Your humor is not being accepted. You just sound dumb. But anyway, it says that this all started when Kelly and Jason Cochran sealed their marriage by promising that if they ever had an affair, they would kill whomever they cheated with. I thought it was a joke, Kelly said in her trial, according to the Chicago Tribune. Obviously, it wasn't. When the couple entered an abusive patch in their relationship, Kelly began having sex with other men. It wouldn't even take abuse for her to have sex with other men, please. When her husband found out, he reminded Kelly of their pact, so Kelly lured one of her lovers, a co-worker named Christopher Reagan, to their home in Hobart, Michigan for sex. That's where 37-year-old Jason entered the room and shot Reagan. Then Kelly got the cord for the electric chainsaw so they can cut out Reagan's body, put it in garbage bags, and dispose of it. Things would soon turn sad for Kelly when her soulmate husband died of a heart attack, only she poisoned him, obviously. No one thought anything of it, especially because police were consumed with this missing Christopher Reagan dude. Soon, though, the detective zeroed in on Kelly and found her guilty of murder, sentencing her to life in prison. That's when police also noticed inconsistencies in Kelly's story about her husband's death. He supposedly died of a heart attack, but it seemed very fishy. Kelly eventually confessed to injecting her husband with heroin and then smothering him to death in their home. Cochran said she was pretty upset after she and Jason dismembered Reagan's body and buried it in the woods. Well, most of it. It turned out that Kelly was very thrifty. Instead of letting all that good, fresh meat go to waste, investigators discovered that Kelly allegedly served parts of Reagan to her neighbors at a neighborhood barbecue. Well, historically, they were into cannibalism anyway. So, again, this is Jim just regressing, and I use the word regress lightly because I don't even think they've progressed past their savage ways, but because they're on the level of domesticated animals, I guess you could say whatever, they are regressing back to their old ways. But back to the article, at least a few of the neighbors suspect that they might have consumed human flesh. Now, the reason I say allegedly and may have is not that Kelly's neighbors may have been confused by seasoned meat and thought it tasted funny, is because police now suspect Kelly in at least 9 other murders, according to the Indianapolis Star. The story of Cochran and the woman who investigated her case will premiere on Discovery ID on May 28th. So this is probably already out. You guys can watch it if you have Discovery ID. Kelly Cochran, 35, is now serving a life sentence. Now, so they suspect that she was convicted in she was guilty of 9 other murders. So that will make 11 murders that she set up here and perpetuated. We know most serial killers are white. It doesn't matter. Like I said, young or old, male or female, foreign or domestic, they're all the same. So the reality of it is this is just what she does. This is what they do. But notice how she's the suspect in 9 other murders, and they confirmed that she murdered 2 other men, but she gives a life sentence. This is why we say they're the system of white supremacy, because in and of itself, there is no white supremacy. There's only illusion of it. There's nothing supreme or even beneficial about being white. But based on the fact that they control the social scale and the social experience of everyone in all areas of life, then they can reinforce that myth or create some form of white supremacy. And it wouldn't be biological or genetic, it would be social. But again, I can't deal with the way these people write these rude articles. It's annoying. I'm over them trying to act like they have some type of humor in it. It's annoying to me. But you guys let me, because here's the thing. I can pathologize them, and I will, and I do, but I also have to pathologize Black people more for wanting to be with these people. Because you can't tell me, regardless of her background, a Black man would have dated her, and a Black woman would have dated him. Because that's just where we're at in society. And at the part of being Black, you have inherited a genetic DNA level of self-hate and worship for all things white. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for your support. I'll see you in the next video.